Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 13th. February 13th is the 44th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 321 days remaining to the end of the year, 322 in leap years. February 13th is World Radio Day. The idea of a World Radio Day had been suggested back in the 1940s as a way to recognize the importance of radio in communication. The United States Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO for short, proclaimed World Radio Day in 2011, and it was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012 as an international day to raise awareness about the importance of radio in getting information out there. Each year, World Radio Day focuses on a specific theme to highlight different facets of radio broadcasting and its contribution to society and global communication. In 2024, that theme is Radio, a century of informing, entertaining, and educating. World Radio Day. In 2024, February 13th falls on a Tuesday, and this particular Tuesday happens to be a day known by several names: Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Tuesday, Pancake Day, Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras, which means Fat Tuesday in French. The exact calendar date upon which Mardi Gras occurs in any given year depends on when Easter will be that year, and that varies on a year-to-year basis because the date for Easter is calculated in a particular way, usually the first Sunday after the full moon that occurs on or soonest after the 21st of March. Mardi Gras is the culmination of the carnival season, which is a time of celebrating and indulgence before the solemn season of Lent, and is celebrated with parades, masquerades, and extravagant balls, particularly famous in cities like New Orleans and Rio de Janeiro. Mardi Gras is characterized by its vibrant costumes, lively music, and the distribution of beads and trinkets. The day is known for excess merriment, serving as a final celebration before the austerity of Lent begins, like the last big party before you gotta be real good for a while. We'll talk more about Ash Wednesday and Lent tomorrow. Today's word is Verklempt, which I have discovered is actually pronounced with the beginning F sound rather than a V sound. Verklempt is an adjective that means overcome with emotion, choked up, a deep emotional response that can be triggered by feelings of gratitude, sadness, pride, or overwhelming joy. Example sentences might be, after hearing a touching tribute from her colleagues, she was too verklempt to respond, or her father was so filled with pride and joy that he became verklempt as she walked the aisle. Verklempt is a loan word from Yiddish and made its way to English in the 1990s. I was surprised at the fairly recent time frame, but I imagine it's been used in the Yiddish dialect for a good century before it arrived to English. Verklempt. YouTube viewer at RobKY8460 requested the word verklempt the other day, and as I was pulling this material for today's episode together, I thought, gee, it sure feels like I've talked about this word before. Sure enough, I found it back on the episode for July 8th of 2023, and I'll leave a link to that one in case you'd like to see how I covered it then. I did talk about the Saturday Night Live skit Coffee Talk with Linda Richmond, played by Mike Myers. Coffee Talk. Love that. Coffee Talk. And remember, if you have a word you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP for short, was established on February 13, 1914 to protect the copyrighted musical compositions of its members. ASCAP collects licensing fees from users of music created by ASCAP members, for instance, and then distribute those royalties back to its members. That way, when someone plays a copyrighted song of an ASCAP member, they don't have to pay the copyright holder directly. Nor does the music creator have to bill each and every radio station for the use of a song. Can you imagine what a mess that would be? Ask Cap. This is the birthday of Peter Halston Thorkelson, born February 13th, 1942. We know him better as Peter Tork, best known as a member of the pop rock band The Monkees. He showed an early aptitude for music, took piano, played several other instruments as well, including the guitar. He was part of the Greenwich Village music scene in New York City, became friends with Stephen Stills, and they went to Los Angeles together. Interesting bit of trivia here. Stephen Stills had auditioned for a proposed TV musical sitcom, but the producers didn't think he had quite exactly the look they were going for, and they asked him if he knew anyone with a similar open Nordic look. And of course, Stephen Stills recommended his buddy Peter Tork. Peter got the part, and the Monkees were underway as a fictional group in a sitcom, which also featured their music. Initially, the band's music was created by session musicians and songwriters, but Peter had that background of playing musical instruments, so he and his bandmates fought for and eventually were able to play their instruments and have more control over their music. When you listen to the song Daydream Believer, for instance, that's Peter playing the piano in the intro to the song. Peter had developed sort of a lovable dummy persona in his Greenwich Village days, and that's how he played his character on the Monkees TV show. The show ran from September 1966 to March of 1968. After the show ended, he did some solo work, knocked around a bit, did some touring, did a few reunion gigs with the Monkees. In fact, the Monkees did a reunion tour with Mickey Dolenz and occasionally Michael Nesmith in 2016. Peter had been diagnosed with a rare, slow-growing form of cancer called adenoid cystic carcinoma in 2009. Peter Tork passed away on February 21st, 2019 at the age of 77. Now, if you're curious as to what else I might have talked about for February 13 in a previous episode, I'll leave a link for you. In honor of Peter Tork's birthday, today's song is Your Auntie Griselda by the Monkees. Written by Diane Hildebrand and Jack Keller, this was the first of the Monkees songs with Peter as lead vocal. The song is an amusing complaint about a prissy and spinsterish woman who is pushy, self-righteous, and judgmental. He sings a line that says, "No bird of grace ever lit on Auntie Griselda." I've known a few Auntie Griseldas in my life, but fortunately not too many. The Monkees TV show featured at least one of their songs during each show, and Your Auntie Griselda is no exception. Interestingly, this song was never released as a single, but was popular enough to appear on several of the Monkees' greatest hits albums, and they often performed it at their live shows. An instrumental version of the song has been used in a couple of episodes of I Dream of Jeannie, and also in an episode of The Flying Nun. I've jotted those two shows down in my calendar book, by the way, so that we can talk about them later on in the year. And I found a version of the song on YouTube in the context of how it might have been used in an episode of the Monkees TV show. Your Auntie Griselda by the Monkees. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Me and my mouth. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. You got to read what's Read the black part. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for... Oh, where's your microphone? Okay. We don't want to say the same thing twice. Oh, get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's great. Okay. How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Oh, cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.